Hey everybody, what's happening? And today we're going to talk about Red Hat Enterprise Linux, or RHEL. And a lot of people have been talking a lot about RHEL of late, and the fact that they are going to be locking down their source code. So in this video, I'm going to answer the three questions: the could, the should, and the why about locking down the source code behind a paywall. So the first question is, could they do this, or can they do this? Yes, they can. According to the GPL and most open source licenses that they use, as long as that source code is being distributed alongside the binaries and the images for that distribution, they are fulfilling the requirements of the GPL or other licenses that are open source. Now, a lot of people don't like this, and I get it, and a lot of people are complaining. And to those people that are complaining about this source code being locked down, my response is basically, grow up. Let's get this straight. You are not entitled to anybody else's source code. The only source code that you are entitled to have is a source code that you write yourself. The source code of Red Hat represents other people's labor, and you're not entitled to that. Now, they may choose to release it under an open source license and share the source code with their customers, and that is entirely their right to do so. So all the entitlement I've seen in the Linux community about this issue, just grow up. You're not entitled. It's ridiculous that you're acting so entitled to the source code, because you're not entitled to it. So now that we've addressed the could they do this, we should answer the question, should they do this?
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
And the answer is, hell no. They should not be locking down the source like this. They are alienating the Linux community and the community developers that they depend on. If they're alienating those, they're putting that development at risk. And a lot of these community developers that they depend on upstream for Fedora and CentOS Stream, they may not want to contribute to Red Hat anymore, and that's going to put a lot more burden on the developers at Red Hat that are paid to develop Red Hat, and it's going to completely screw with their development cycles because they chose to lock down the source code behind a paywall. So bottom line is, I don't think this is a smart move by Red Hat to lock down this source code. I think it's going to turn around and bite them on the ass in the long run, and it's going to make it harder for them to develop Red Hat Enterprise Linux in the future. So a lot of people might ask, why has Red Hat chosen to lock down the source code? And it's an important question, and you probably should try to see it from both sides here, because there is a reason why Red Hat is doing this. And it's a little bit more complicated than what I can get to in here, but what I suspect they're doing is trying to eliminate a lot of the corporations that are cheating the Red Hat system. And what I mean by that is, I know of a couple corporations that have done this. I'm not going to necessarily name them, but there are a few corporations out there, and I would say that there are actually more than a few corporations that have done this. They have bought Red Hat for about a year or two. They utilized their support staff, their engineers, and all the resources that Red Hat has to offer to get their servers and their workstations working just right. And then after their subscription had expired, they went and they uninstalled Red Hat, installed a downstream product like CentOS or Rocky Linux. Now, that is cheating the system, and corporations should definitely not be doing that, because if you're using those customizations, you should definitely be supporting Red Hat and the infrastructure, because those support staff, engineers, developers of Red Hat, they cost Red Hat money, and you should definitely be contributing to Red Hat if you're using their customizations and a lot of the stuff that they set up for you. Now, I think that this particular practice is what Red Hat is trying to stop, is the freeloading corporations that are now utilizing everything that Red Hat had developed for them and helped them configure, and are not paying for it anymore. And I get it. I might not agree with the way that they're trying to stop this practice. Now it's time to open up the discussion to the comment section. Go ahead and leave a comment. As long as you're respectful about it, I want to know your opinion. And that's about all I have to say on the matter, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.